About nothing missing. We all go through disappointments and things we didn't see coming. It's easy to accept it and think that's the way it's always going to be. We went through a breakup, we'll always be lonely. Had a setback in our business, we'll always struggle. Came down with an illness, we'll always have to deal with it. But God didn't say we wouldn't go through challenges. We'd never experience loss. But He did promise when He's finished, nothing will be missing. He's a God of restoration. You may have lost your health, lost your joy, lost a position, but that's not how your story ends. Don't judge your situation too soon. The loss is only temporary. It's just a season. You're going to get it all back. Your health is coming back. Your confidence is coming back. Your child is coming back. Your strength is coming back. Nothing will be missing. Someone may have left you, walked out of a relationship. You think you'll always be alone. The right person is going to find you. Someone better than you've imagined. You tried to accomplish your dream. The doors didn't open. God's going to open a better door. He didn't give you the dream and not have a way to bring it to pass. Maybe you didn't have a good childhood. Nobody was there to encourage you. You feel shortchanged. Don't worry, God saw what happened. He's going to make up for who did you wrong. He's going to pay you back for what you didn't get. Instead of living discouraged, thinking you've seen your best days, turn it around. Father, thank you that nothing will be missing in my life. The joy, the peace, the health, the strength, the family, the dreams. Lord, thank you that you are restoring everything that I've lost. See, instead of having a poor old me mentality, look what I've been through, have a nothing missing mentality. I'm going to get it all back. This is what happened with Job. He was a good man, had a good family, successful business. One thing after another came against him. Lost his health, lost his business, lost his children. He was so discouraged, the scripture says, he sat down among the ashes. He thought, I'll never recover from this. It's all downhill from here. His wife even said, Job, just curse God and die. Encouraging wife. Just when he was about to give up, a friend came along, said in Job chapter 5, Job, if you'll look to God, He will rescue you. He will save you from death. You will not be taken before your time. When you look in your pastures, nothing will be missing. Here, he's just lost all of his flocks. Lost his health, his family, it's all gone. God showed up and said, Job, stay in faith. This loss is temporary. When I get through, nothing will be missing. I can see Job stand up out of the ashes, dust his clothes off. He looked up to the heavens and said, I know my Redeemer lives. In the midst of all the trouble, all the heartache, when he could have been complaining, bitter, he started declaring that God was on the throne. That what he started, he would finish. There was a shift in his thinking. From this loss is permanent, I've seen my best days, to restoration is coming. Health is coming. Victory is coming. I can hear him saying, Father, it doesn't look good. The odds are against me, but I believe what you promised, that nothing will be missing in my life. I don't have joy now, but thank you that joy is coming. I don't feel well, but thank you that health is coming. My flocks are all gone, but thank you that abundance is on the way. When you go through setbacks, you can complain, talk about what you've lost, or you can get in agreement with God and talk about restoration. Father, thank you that what was meant for my harm, you're turning to my advantage. You said that no weapon formed against me will ever prosper. Thank you that I will recover everything that I've lost. This is what God did for Job. He not only restored what he'd lost, but God gave him twice what he had before. He was more blessed after the challenge than he was before. God makes the enemy pay for bringing the difficulty. Verse 16 says, Job went on to live another 140 years after the challenge and saw his children and grandchildren. He died an old man who had lived a long, good life. He didn't die bitter, lonely, discouraged. Just like God promised, nothing was missing. He had his health, his family, his business, peace, abundance. He didn't look like what he had been through. If you would have told him in the middle of the difficulty, when he had boils all over his body, sitting in the ashes, that one day he was going to be happy, healthy, living an abundant life, he would have thought, how could that be possible? That's the way our God is. Don't judge the rest of your life by what's come against you now. God is saying to you what he said to Job, nothing is going to be missing. You may be missing joy, missing children, missing health. Life has thrown you a curve. You don't see how it could ever work out. God has it already figured out. Like Job, you're not going to look like what you've been through. When God gets finished, nobody will be able to tell you went through the cancer, through the breakup, through the pandemic, through the loss. You're going to come out stronger, healthier, more fulfilled. A good family, blessed, prosperous. Get that down in your spirit. Yes, something may be wrong now, but God is not finished. Your time is coming. The scripture says God set an end to Job's difficulty. Just like there was a start to that problem, there was an end to that problem. An end to the sickness, an end to the addiction, an end to the limitations. When God says it's time to restore, all the forces of darkness cannot stop him. Whatever you've lost, whatever looks permanent, whatever you think has limited your life, there's about to be a shift. God is going to suddenly thrust you into healing, bring the right people, turn the business around, give you joy, peace, victory like you've never seen. I talked to a young lady. She and her husband had been trying to have a baby for many years with no success. Her dream from the time she was a little girl was to have a child. Her mother had a hard time conceiving, and her grandmother, it ran in the family. After taking all the fertility treatments, doing everything medically speaking that she could, the doctor told her that it wasn't going to be possible. There was nothing more they could do. For months, she would get up in the morning weeping, so heartbroken. One day she was driving to work and she flipped on our Sirius XM channel. I was talking about how God has the final say, how he can do what medicine can't do. She said something came alive on the inside. She wasn't raised in church. She believed in God, but she'd never heard anything like this. She started reminding God what he promised, that children are a gift from the Lord. All through the day, instead of getting discouraged, she would thank God that her baby was on the way. When she was tempted to get down, she would go out in the car and listen to another message to help her faith stay built up. 2 weeks ago, she called weeping. This time, they weren't tears of sadness, they were tears of joy. She had just found out she was 10 weeks pregnant, not with one baby, but with twins. The doctor said, I don't know how it happened. He had no explanation. That's what God promised, that nothing is going to be missing in your life. Thoughts will tell you, it's never going to happen. Man, you'll always be barren, always be lonely, always be addicted, always struggle. Don't believe those lies. God sees what you've lost. He knows what wasn't fair, what's holding you back. It's not permanent. The baby is coming. The freedom is coming. The dream is coming. The abundance is coming. In the scripture, David was 29 years old. He was living in the city of Ziklag with 600 of his men. He'd worked in the palace, but had to leave because King Saul was jealous and trying to kill him. The prophet Samuel had anointed him to be the next king of Israel when he was 17. He wasn't in Jerusalem, where it was prophesied he would lead the nation. He wasn't in Bethlehem, where he was raised. Ziklag was a temporary place. He was in between prophecy and destiny. It wasn't where he was from, and it wasn't where he was going. It was a place of waiting. We all encounter some Ziglags. We know what God promised. We know the dream he's placed in our heart, but we're not seeing it happen. No doors are opening. We're not able to conceive. Our health isn't improving. When you're in Ziklag, in between places, it's very important that you keep being faithful. Keep doing the right thing. Keep reminding God of his promises. Ziglag is a test. Are you going to get discouraged? Think that you're stuck? Give up on your dreams? No, stay in faith. Ziglag is only temporary. David and his men had been out on a 3-day journey to fight with the Philistines. They were returning home when they noticed smoke billowing in the distance. It was in the direction of their city. I can imagine they started walking faster, wondering what was going on. When they got closer, their worst fears came true. The Amalekites, these bandits, had come in and raided the city. They captured all their wives and children. They took all their possessions, burned down their homes. Here David had been out doing God's will, protecting the people, and his own city was destroyed. His wife and children had been kidnapped. The scripture says David and his men wept until they could not weep anymore. Now David was a warrior. He'd gone through great challenges. He'd defeated Goliath, withstood all kinds of trouble. But this blow knocked the wind out of him. He didn't see it coming. On the way to our destiny, there will be some zigzags. We're doing the right thing, but the wrong thing happens. We're being our best, but business goes down. We lose a loved one. We're fighting anxiety, or maybe dealing with a child that's off course. David's men were so upset, so distraught, they talked about stoning David. Just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, his own men turned on him. David was at a very pivotal moment. He could have gotten bitter, blamed God, given up on his dream. This could be the last time we ever read about David. He could have faded off into the sunset, missed his destiny. But David made a decision that we all have to make when we encounter a zigzag. The scripture says he encouraged himself in the Lord his God. Sitting in the ashes, looking at home still smoldering, men all around him angry, ready to take him out. Instead of complaining, instead of being depressed, he started reminding himself that God was still on the throne. God, what you've spoken over my life is still going to come to pass. I believe that you're a God of restoration, that this is not how my story ends. David dried his tears, got up out of the ashes, went alone to pray. He asked God if he should go after the Amalekites. God said, yes, go after them, for you will surely recover everything that was stolen. God is saying that to you. You may have lost some things. Don't sit around in self-pity. It's time to dry your tears and go after what belongs to you. You will surely recover your health. You will surely recover your children. You will surely recover your peace. You will surely recover that dream. God is a surely God. He's not hoping it'll work out. He controls the universe. He's breathing in your direction right now. You and God are a majority. Him being for you is more than the world being against you. David set out toward the Amalekites. When he arrived, they were having a big party, dancing, drinking, celebrating the victory. Sometimes the enemy celebrates too soon. He thinks you're done, you've given up, you've settled. What he doesn't realize is you know what God promised, that if you pursue, if you believe, get your hopes up, you will recover all. Nothing will be missing. When you pursue, God starts fighting for you. Angels go to work. Forces of darkness are broken. The wrong people are moved out of the way. You'll see favor, healing, victory. David and his men attacked the Amalekites. They not only defeated them, but they got back everything that was stolen. They got their wives and children back. The scripture says nothing was missing, small or great, son or daughter, or anything else that had been taken. David got everything back. Now you may be in zigzag. You've lost some things. It wasn't fair. If you'll get your passion back, start believing again, like with David, you're going to get it all back. Nothing is going to be missing. The healing is coming back. The business, the children, the joy, it's coming back. God is not going to leave you at a deficit. He's keeping the records. He knows what belongs to you. David not only got all of his possessions back, but his men gathered up all that belonged to the Amalekites. They came out with more than they had before. What's interesting is 3 days later, King Saul was killed in a battle. David was made king. This was 13 years after Samuel had anointed him. It's significant that after his greatest challenge, David was only 72 hours away from taking the throne. When you're in Ziklag, stay encouraged. You don't know what God is up to. You're not only going to get it all back, but God is about to promote you. Ziklag is a sign that a new level of your destiny is on the way, that you're about to see what God promised, that you're going to come out of the interim place, that place of waiting, into a place of destiny. But we all have to go through a few zigzags on the way to our purpose, difficulties that come out of nowhere, things we don't understand, loss of a loved one, fighting depression, people trying to discredit us. You have to remind yourself that zigzag is only temporary. Voices will whisper, you'll never get out of this, never recover from this sickness, never have that baby, never meet the right person, just live among these ashes. The reason those lies are coming is the enemy doesn't want you to rise up and leave Ziklag. He doesn't want you to have a recover all